You're listening to the North Parkway Podcast, weekly talks designed to help you take the next step in your spiritual journey. You can learn more about our church at northparkway.org. And if these talks are helpful to you, consider using the link in the description to give. Your financial support helps us continue to make great content. All right, well, that's enough intro. Let's get to today's talk.
Do you ever do something and then immediately think, now why did I just do that? You ever had that moment? I'm not talking about years later when, you finally realize those were the droids we were looking for. Like not long-term regret. I'm talking about do you ever have buyer's remorse on the same day that you bought the thing? Anybody else? That's been me. Why did I buy this? Or do you ever go and sit down to watch the game after lunch and you think, why did I go back for that second crab rangoon? What was I thinking? Or teenagers in the room, okay? Have you ever been in that heated conversation with a parent and you just have to get that last word in, and as you speak it, before the sound waves reach mom, you think, wait, no, and you try to grab it because you know it's not going to end well, and it's too late. Yeah, you said it, and all of a sudden, what did you just say, young man? And you're like, oh, shoot, okay, my punishment just tripled. Why did I say that thing? Why did that come out of my mouth? Anybody? Okay, I think we can all relate. There are some passages in the Bible that are more relatable in the modern age than others. The one that I want to talk to you about today is very, very relatable. It's written a couple thousand years ago. It holds up really well. Romans 7:15 through 21. The guy writing this, Paul, says, I don't really understand myself, for I want to do what's right, but I don't do it. Instead, I do what I hate. In verse 19, he said, I don't want to do what's wrong, but I do it anyway. I have discovered this principle of life, that when I want to do what's right, I inevitably do what is wrong. Anybody else relate to Paul? Okay, I think we've all had those moments. Again, not long-term regret. It's like Isaiah. It's like in the words of Ron Burgundy, right? I immediately regret this decision. Why did I do this? And it's weird. It's weird. Let me ask you, have you ever thought about why that is? Because it's the same noodle in your skull that says, I should do this, and then immediately says, why did I just do this? You ever thought how weird that is? Why? It's the same. You're the same person. It's not like someone comes in and possesses your body and all of a sudden you're doing different stuff, right? This is not a soap opera. This is real life. Okay? You don't have an evil twin. It's the same you. Why? At first glance, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense why we feel like that, why we do things that we know are bad ideas, why we do the same thing every time, and every time that I have this food, I always get heartburn when I lay down. Why don't I stop? But it makes perfect sense when you understand the biology that's going on. That's what I want to talk to you about today, why you do what you don't want to do. And the reason is, write this down, because your brain is at war with your brain. Not a typo, okay? It's not a mistake. That's actually, okay, write that down. Your brain is at war with your brain. Chris, what do you mean? I'll show you what I mean. Okay. This is my artwork. We'll be auctioning this off afterwards if any of you want to hang this in your home. Just kidding. Okay, we did an auction for missions. That was cool. Now, this is a little diagram of the brain, and in case it's been a while since you were in high school, physiology and anatomy class, let me just give you a quick refresher. The brain is super complicated. Okay, I'm going to simplify quite a bit for our purposes here. But as people have studied the brain, they've found that there are kind of three large categories that you can put the different functions of the brain in to help understand what part of the big squiggly noodle makes you do stuff. Okay? And we have these, you're going to write them down in your notes. The first one, this is your brain stem. down here, the very bottom part. Okay, this is known as the reptilian brain, or for this week's purposes, we're going to call it the lizard brain. Okay, you can write that down, lizard brain. Why do we call this the lizard brain? Because the brain stem that you have, that's about the capacity of the frog in your backyard, or the lizard that when you walk out, it's right underneath your driveway, and you're like, I didn't know there was empty space under my driveway. That's a little concerning, okay? The lizard, your brainstem does very basic things just to keep you alive. This is the part of your brain that keeps your heart beating in a somewhat regular rhythm. It's the part that reminds you breathe in and breathe out. It's the part that regulates your body temperature so you don't have to crawl under the driveway like a lizard. Okay, lizard brain. Okay, that's very basic. This next piece in the middle here, this is your limbic system, a lot of people, they call it the mammalian brain. We're going to call it the dog brain because mammalian is kind of hard to say. Okay, the dog brain. Write that down. This middle piece here. This, as you can guess, kind of like the lizard brain. They call it the dog brain or the mammal brain because most mammals, most furry creatures on the earth, have a similar capacity that we do in this middle part of the brain. This is the part of the brain that drives emotions. It's the part of your brain that urges you to do things, that drives you to get your needs met. And it makes sense. You know, I put dog brain because any dog owners in the house? Who's a dog owner? Okay. Anybody? The thing I love, I was just talking to my son this morning about cats versus dogs. And if you're a cat person, that's cool, But I love that dogs are always so happy to see you when you come home. Anybody else's dog? We had, when I was growing up, we had some dachshunds, the wiener dogs, and they would get so excited like the back end was wiggling sideways from the front end, and Anybody ever have a dog that was so excited they lost control over their bladder when the parent got home, right? The cone of shame is coming for you, dog. Okay? Emotions and desires. All right. And then this very top squiggly part here, all right? This is the cortex. We're going to just call this the logic part of your brain. This is the part that's pretty unique to humanity. Other animals have a very little cortex around the outside. Ours is really big. And this is the part of your brain that's responsible for logic, that's responsible for abstract thought. That's what you're going to write down there. It handles strategy and planning. It's especially highly developed in Dallas Cowboys fans. This is obviously not for the last 30 years at one point. Okay? This is the part of your brain that plans ahead. This is your part of the brain that says, if I want this in 5 years, I need to do this piece now. It's the part like the great chess players that are thinking, move the knight here and the rook here so that in 6 turns I can win by moving the queen to this spot. Okay? This is the super brainiac smart part of your brain. Okay? So, lizard brain, dog brain, logic brain. Now, let me ask you, which piece of this structure would you ideally like being responsible for making important decisions in your life? This one. Yeah, that's what I want. I want this one making all the decisions. Do you know what research shows us again and again and again and again with humanity? The part that's driving the decisions is this one right here. Write this down. Most behavior is driven by the dog brain, not the cortex, the dog brain. And here's how it works. The dog brain, this part of your brain, not an actual dog brain inside of you, that would be Frankenstein. Okay, that's next month. It's October, Halloween. Okay? But the part of your brain that's like that, it's the part of your brain that is impulsive. It's the part of your brain that makes you crave things. It's the part of your brain that if we brought in McDonald's French fries right now, you're all like, ooh, I'm suddenly hungry. Okay? I need some. And here's how it works. The cortex is really, really highly developed. It's smart. You can figure out strategies to do all of these things. But the dog brain issues commands to the logic brain to go get me some stuff. And the dog brain wants what the dog brain wants all of the time. Reminds me of a commercial, and I'm not going to give credit to the company that put this commercial out because we don't really endorse them, but I saw it at the Super Bowl years ago, and they envisioned what would happen if you drank our product and you suddenly became able to talk to animals. Watch this really quickly.
Ability to talk to animals.
Hey there, boy. How was your day?
Sausages. 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 Please, sausages. 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 Sausage.
Okay.
Sausage.
Good talk.
It's pretty accurate, okay? It's pretty accurate. If I could talk to a dog, what does he want to say? Sausages, right now. Or bacon, or Hardee's biscuit. I love Hardee's biscuits. Or Cheez-Its, more. And so what happens is the dog brain feels a need, an urge. I want this. And it says to the logic brain, hey, go get me some sausage right now. And what happens is when you get something, okay, this says, I feel a need, I'm hungry. Hey, cortex, go get me some food, all right? So the cortex goes to get you some food. And when this part of your brain gets what it wants, there's a chemical release, and many of you are familiar with this idea. There's a chemical release inside that's a rewarding thing that makes you happy whenever you get what the dog brain says you want. Dog brain says, I'm tired. Okay, it's the reason why your bed is never more comfortable than when you've been out walking at the marigold parade all day and then you went to fix the yard and everything. You're exhausted. Everybody ever notice that? The bed is so comfortable when you're really tired. Like food that's just kind of food tastes really good when you're really hungry. And so this reward cycle handles all kinds of different emotions in your life. And a lot of things are rewarding. Okay? They're good things like hugs. Okay, if you are a hugger, okay, hugs are a rewarding thing in your brain. Good things like exercise is good for you. When you exercise, your body releases these endorphins and hormones that say, yes, do more of this. But as you can imagine, there are plenty of things that are rewarding in your brain that humans tend to do to excess. We tend to do in the wrong ways, and it tends to get us in trouble. Things like calories. Calories taste really good to your brain. It's the reason why we have donuts here, right? We could have celery sticks, but nobody wants those. You eat a celery stick, okay? You eat a celery stick, and the dog brain's like, what did you just do to me? I want donuts. Well, technically, there's donuts. Okay, but if I eat some donuts. Okay, donuts. Yay. Let's be friends now. This is good. I love this church. Okay? Things, all right? Shopping is a major reward center in your brain. Some of the men are like, write that down for later. Pastor Chris said, okay? Revenge is highly rewarding to your brain. Gossip is highly rewarding. Ever have this? I call it, in my line of work, I have to keep a lot of secrets. People confide things in me. I have to keep it a secret. The burden of knowledge. Have you ever felt that? Someone told you something and they're like, Jason, don't tell another soul. And you're like, oh no. Because now I have this drive. I want to tell just one person. And I'm like, Jim, I'm going to tell you this, but don't tell anyone else. I'm not supposed to say it. Whew, feels good to get it off your chest. There's so many things that we do, and you're like, why do I do what I don't want to do? It's because of this part. Because what happens is this part says, give me stuff. And this part, okay. And then as soon as you do it, and this reward is met, the craving's not yelling at you, and the squiggly part up here says, now wait a minute. That was not the wise course of action. Why did I do it? Because this was yelling at me. And no matter how sophisticated we grow in the cortex, no matter how smart we are as a species, we still live in flesh bodies that are built for this planet. Interesting study done on rats years ago. They took rats and they opened up their brains and we do terrible things to rats. They put electrodes in their brain connected to a button. And if the rat pressed the button, it would stimulate this part of the brain that gets reward when you do things you want. like food, like sex, like revenge, like sleep, like shopping, and they said, hey, you don't have to do this stuff, just hit the button and you'll make your brain happy. Okay? Do you know what happened to the rats? They would hit the button so many times, the researchers would have to pull the rat away from the button because they wouldn't eat, they wouldn't sleep, they wouldn't drink water. Male rats would completely ignore a female rat in heat, just mash the button. Okay? Female rats, okay, mom's in the house. Female rats that had just given birth would ignore their nursing babies and mash the button, mash the button, mash the button. That's how powerful the reward cycle is. At one point, they said some of these rats would press the button 7,000 times an hour and ignore all of their needs because this is so powerful. And it's saying, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need, oh, okay, I'll give it to you. It's powerful. Your brain is at war with your brain. Consequently, we have this dilemma because we are physical creatures living in a physical world, and there's a God beyond our world that says, now listen, I have some guidelines for you. If you will listen to these and you will do things the way I asked, life will go better for you. Society will function better. If you will do the stuff, I wrote it all down in a book so you can remember, live this way and I will be pleased with you. The problem is the thing that he wants us to do is oftentimes diametrically opposed to what this part of my brain is yelling at me to do. And write this down. It leaves us in a space where your body is at war with your soul because that part is yelling. 1 Peter 2:11 says, I appeal to you, my friends, as strangers and refugees in this world. Okay, we talked about this a few weeks ago. Your body is native to earth. Your soul is native to heaven. You are on earth for a short amount of time. Your soul continues on forever. He says, since you're only here temporarily, do not give in to bodily passions which are always at war against the soul. He said that urge to do something, that craving to do something, that like, I'm at work, but I just can't stop thinking. Oh man, I really, really need to smoke. I really need to smoke. I really need to smoke. Hey, some of you guys know what that feels like. So many smokers that I've talked to are like, I know this is bad for me. I know it's probably going to give me lung cancer. I want to stop. I just can't. It's too strong. Well, when God says do something and that says do something else, it puts you in a difficult spot. The word here that the Bible uses for flesh, sarkikos, it's translated flesh. And if you ever read one of the older translations of the Bible, like the King James, some of you guys like me, you grew up on the King James version of the Bible or the NIV. They talk all the time about the flesh, the flesh, the flesh. This is what they mean. It's not that your physical body is bad, but it's opposed to what God needs you to do, and it's fighting back against you. And what we see here is that, some of you have seen this, there's a core value in our culture. We have a very me-centered, especially in America, a very personalized culture. You've probably all heard these values. Do what makes you happy. Do what you want. Don't deny yourself. Whatever it is that you feel like you should do, you should do. Don't ever tell yourself no. It's a very self-centered, it's a very me-centered, it's a very dog-brain-centered mentality when you think about it. If it feels good, do it. If it's not against the law, do it. If it's against the law, but it shouldn't be against the law, do it. If it's not hurting anybody that I can tell right in the moment, do it. And that's a problem when you become a Christian and you say, I want to serve God with my life. And Jesus said stuff, and we talk about this a lot, like this in Matthew 16:24. If anyone wants to come after me, he must deny himself. Uh-oh. That's this guy. That's this part. He must learn. He must choose. He must, in the big noodly part up here, say, wait a minute. God said not to do this. I need to deny myself. Jesus said, if you want to follow me, you have to get better at this stuff. You have to choose this stuff. And I want to help you to do that. And this is a 2-week talk, okay? So next week, we're going to talk about some specific strategies of how to do this better. This week, I just want to point out where the problem is coming from. It's the dog brain. It's that middle piece. And here's what you need to do if you want to serve God with your life. Or, okay, let's just be honest. If you're still kind of like, I don't know for sure what I believe about God, I'm not sure I really want to buy into this whole thing. If you just want to make better decisions and not regret your choices so much, it's the same process, okay? Write this down. You need to stop being a pushover and take charge. You need to stop being a pushover and take charge, because this part is still in charge. This part can still tell this no. You have to stop being a pushover. Everybody, give me your best muscle flex, all right? Everybody flex. Rah, right? Yeah, I got some good ones on the front row over there. Flex, right? You have to show force and take charge. You have to be in charge. 2 Corinthians 9:27. The same guy, okay? The same guy who earlier wrote, why do I keep doing the stuff I don't want to do? I don't understand myself. Same guy, he wrote this. I strike a blow to my body, and I make it my slave, so that after I've preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. Now, you look at a lot of different translations. A lot of translations, there was this weird thing that happened years ago where people took that literally, and they're like, oh, if I want to be holy, I need to beat myself up, and they like whip themselves in the back. It's not what he's talking about. Remember, Paul, the same guy, he's like, look, God wants this, brain wants this. And he said, here's how I handle it. I punch this in the face. I say no. The literal translation means I punch my body in the face and give it a black eye. Okay? Don't actually punch your body in the face. Okay? But metaphorically, it's like that moment. You guys ever see that movie where the guy looks at him and says, look at me. I am the captain now. Right? Some of you have to have those moments on a regular basis where you look at the cravings that say, yes, 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 and you say, hey, I'm in charge. Okay? I'm a dad. I have 4 kids. As my kids grow through stages, I have to find different and recurring ways to reestablish my dominance. I'm like, this is my house. Whenever you buy a house, you can have whatever you want in it, but this is my house, and we do it my way, right? My youngest daughter is 7. She's going to turn 8 soon. I was just telling my wife, Natasha, she's getting a lot more comfortable with asking for things that are not part of the normal routine. Can I have an extra this? Can I have more of these? Can I stay up later? Can I get up earlier? Can I do all of these things? And I said, if she's getting more comfortable asking, I need to get more comfortable saying no. And I'm working on that. It feels good, okay? Write this down. Yes. Okay? 3 phrases that you need to get comfortable saying. If you don't want to be a pushover, if you want to start winning, if you want to make God happier with your life, if you want to regret your decisions less often. 3 phrases you need to get comfortable saying. The first one is this. No. No. Okay? Reminds me, how about no? Okay? I want to buy more stuff. No. I want to punch this kid in the face. No. I want to play this game, but I know mom and dad don't want me to, but if they don't see me in my room, no. No. It's a perfectly acceptable answer to a lot of the things the dog brain inside of you says. More, now. You've got to rise up and say no. And that's hard because it's you. You are saying you want more, and you have to say no to you. It's a little easier to say no to an 8-year-old than it is to say no to the 40-year-old, okay? I'm just like, I'm not listening. I'm going to do it anyway. No, don't you dare. Yes, I am. Don't you do it. Yes, I am. Right? It's hard. There are some things, it's as simple as this. God said it's bad. God says no, so I say no. That takes effort. That doesn't feel good in the moment, but in the long run, it feels a lot better. No. One of the phrases is no. Okay, write that down. Just really quick. Here's another one. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is not yet. Because not every craving that you feel inside is bad. Those things are needs that need to be met in your body. They're emotional needs that need to be met in your mind. The answer is not to just live a horrible, barren wasteland of a life, but some of these things, the answer to this is not yet. There's a wiser way to do this. Okay? When I was first married, Natasha and I had several friends from our small group in our church at the time, and they were all newly married, and they were all getting brand new houses and brand new cars. And here's what happened. I said, I need a brand new house. I need a brand new car. Okay? And this piece said, I want what they want. I need. This guy said, okay, let me go do some calculations and let me hire a realtor. Okay? And so we got a not brand new, but almost brand new car. We got a literally brand new house. It was stupid. I was 23 years old. Okay? Let me tell you, young people in the room, people who are renting and say, so expensive to buy a house. Let me tell you from someone who beat their head against the wall, not yet. Just wait. Okay? I'm now 40. I now have a house that I can afford. There are a lot of uncomfortable years in between that didn't have to be uncomfortable because I wanted something now, and the wise answer was, not yet. Take care of your debt first and then get it. I want to see justice served to this punk. They need to get what's coming to them. God said, vengeance is mine. And in the end, I'll take care of it. But sometimes it's not yet. And the answer is just chill. It'll happen. I want to get some sleep. Not yet. I need to do these things. Okay? Sometimes not yet. Let me give you one more. When the dog brain is yelling at you, something else you need to get comfortable saying is this. Not like this. Not like this. I hear you, brain. That's a valid need. And there's a valid way to meet that need. This is not it. Okay? Obvious one here, but I'm going to say it. Hey, this brain, all right, and I know we have kids in the room. I'm sorry. Okay? This brain wants sex a lot. Depending on how old you are and what gender you are, it wants it a lot. A lot. And culture says, oh, I've got just the thing for that. But not like this. God said, I created a space for that to be healthy. I created a space with no bad side effects. I created a box to contain this energy in a way that enriches your life and doesn't cause you to have regret the next day. But you got to learn to say, wait, not like this. Not like this. Some of you have somebody that has done you wrong, and there's a confrontation that needs to happen. Some of you, there needs to be a moment where you throw words down, right? But there's a healthy way to confront something. There are healthy ways to address an issue with a coworker, and then there are ways that feel good in the moment, and then afterwards, when you're in with disciplinary action with HR, you think, I should not have done that. I might lose this job. Okay, not like that. There are times when you need to say to this, I hear you, but not like this. There's a better way. There's a wiser way. And for those of you, as the band comes back up, for those of you who are thinking, okay, that sounds great on the stage. I'm just telling you, in the moment, it's not like that. Some of you guys have been at long-term fighting with substance abuse, and you'd say, you don't understand the pain that I'm in until I get the release from this thing. Some of you are like, I'm not responsible for my anger flying off the handle. They provoked it, and they get what comes out. I can't control it. You can't, but you can. Because it's not just you. See, psychologists have shown us again and again and again, this part right here alone is not enough to restrain this in a lot of people. It's not. It's not up to the task. What's so good is that when God gives you the directions from heaven, he also gives you the empowerment from heaven. You can go ahead and play when you're ready. And Romans 8:12 and 13 says, just consider this, you have no obligation to do what your sinful nature urges you. This? He says, you don't have to do this. If, verse 13, through the power of the Spirit you put to death the deeds of your sinful nature, you will live. And that sinful nature that's translated in there, I put that in there literally, that's that same word, flesh. It's the same word that Paul said, I punch it in the face and give it a black eye. You say, I can't do that. You can, because it's not just you. God is working alongside you. He's helping you to choose something better. He's arming you with the response to say, no, I'm not going to do that. With the response to say, I hear you, but not yet. It's not time yet. Or not like this. God has a different way to meet this need that's very real and visceral. You can choose to do the better thing. And like I said, next week we'll talk more about specifics. I'm going to give you some practical things to put in your tool belt so when that moment comes, you have strategies on how to win. But before you employ any of these strategies, you need to know who the opponent is. You need to understand where this is coming from. Your last thing to write down, this is today's win. What we want to do is learn to recognize your urges so you can say no. You got to learn to recognize them. And my challenge to you this week is as you go through the week, to just start to mentally catalog. When you have that drive to do something, especially the things that you know, like, I know I don't want to do this. Okay? Sometimes that's me with food. You don't look like it. I'm trying to be as healthy as I can. And I just want another one, 3 of these. And then I'm like, great, more workout time. I don't have time for that. Okay, whatever it is. Okay? I have a problem with complaining. And I say it, and then I'm like, I shouldn't have said that. God says, do everything without murmuring and complaining. Okay, whatever that thing is for you, start recognizing it. Because when you realize where it's coming from, you can say, all right, this is a need. There's a different way to meet this need. There's a different time to meet this need. I don't have to say yes to this. I'm still in control. And you will fail a lot at it. The fight will never stop. This part will never stop screaming, sausages, sausages, sausages. Okay, but if through the power of the Holy Spirit you take control over that and you exert dominance over that and you say, you serve me, I don't serve you, you can start to change and you live a healthier life. And it makes you healthier, it makes your family healthier, it makes the society that's connected to you healthier, and by the way, it makes God pleased with your life. And it opens the door to more blessing because He's able to bring things out of your life that He wants to because you have space now. Don't let the dog brain turn you into an ape with a smartphone. You're more than that. You're better than that. Get comfortable saying no to that so that you can say yes to what God has asked you to do. Because the outcome is better, and then you make a decision and you say, man, I'm so glad I did that. It's a way better end to the day.
Hey, this is Pastor Chris again. Thanks for listening. If today's talk was helpful in your spiritual life, odds are there's someone you know who could benefit from it. Take a minute right now to share it with them. And if you live in the area, come try out a service in person because church is more fun with friends. See you next time.